I could go visit the Halloween capital of the world and meet my pen pal. Well, at the time, I had a 4-year-old and an infant.
Ooh.
So I left the infant home with my husband, and the 4-year-old and I flew from Raleigh to Minneapolis, and I rented a car, and I took a 4-year-old to Mall of America, and then we went to Anoka. We went to the, like, it's a cute town on its own, and they have a shop with it's the Halloween capital of the world because in 1920 they had one of the first civic Halloween celebrations. So they have like a gift shop, and that's like one of the first places I had to go to like get the button in the hat. And during the month of October, they have like really cool stuff that goes on every weekend. And the particular weekend we were there, I selected because they had a light up the night parade. And let me tell you, that kind of has ruined me for other parades. So Anoka's, it's a small town, but that parade was awesome. And after I went to that, I was like, all parades should be night parades because with the lights, it was just magical. It was wonderful. Like they had a bonfire going, and then they had like people dressed up as the Ghostbusters, and you know, a town that can get behind loving Halloween is my kind of town.
Yes. Also, you've been to Salem. What was that like?
Well, Salem is a little unfair. So I've been there a couple times, but it's only been kind of passing through. So the first time I went, my son was 1, and we did like a whole trip. It was a whole like Halloween smash. We flew into Rhode Island, and I can't remember. I think it's like the Rogers something Zoo has a jack-o'-lantern spectacular, and it's phenomenal. So we did that in Rhode Island, and then we went to Salem and just kind of did like a quick tour. Like I think we had lunch there and just did some of the shops and looked around. So I was like, okay, I got to go back. And then after we went to Salem that day, we went to Keene, New Hampshire, which is awesome because they have a big jack-o'-lantern festival, and they build like this big giant tower. They stack real jack-o'-lanterns up, and it's super crowded, and there's like jack-o'-lanterns all over. That was phenomenal. And then the last time I went back to Salem, I flew in like on a Thursday or Friday, I can't remember, but one of my guilty obsessions is with Elvira, like the horror host. She's so kitschy and she's just so weird, but I love her 1987 movie. I love that movie to death. And it was the 30th anniversary, and the Salem Horror Fest was going to have her in for a screening. And I was like, I have to be there. Like, we'll move mountains. And so I flew into Boston, like, got up to Salem, and all I had was a couple hours. Like, I went and got some donuts. I went and looked at some of the beautiful houses, and like the witch's house. Went to the memorial for the victims of the witch trial, and then ended up like that night going and seeing the screening with Cassandra Peterson, getting a picture, and that was wonderful. And the next day I flew out because I wanted to get to Florida for another Halloween art show. So Salem is fantastic. But I have like literally the 2 times I've been there have only been like for a day, and very high on my bucket list is to like do a proper trip, like where like do all the things, slow down, stay there. I've just had a little sampler platter.
Yes,
it's not fair. Not right.
Yes, maybe next year, folks. You've also been to Sleepy Hollow.
I have. So they do a wonderful jack-o'-lantern spectacular thing too. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's incredible because they use real pumpkins, and I've been to some things where they have like jack-o'-lantern displays, which I get it, and they use the artificial ones, and I'm like, oh, that's just not as good. And I know it's expensive and it's a lot of work, but any of these like zoos or civic events that use the real thing, that's where my heart is. So they have this phenomenal jack-o'-lantern spectacular thing that you walk through, and there's like lights and jack-o'-lanterns, and it's lit up, and it's just wonderful. And they have a 10K. So I had to do that because I wanted the T-shirt and the medal with the Headless Horseman on there. And I love it's like the whole town gets into it. Like I remember on the police cars and the ambulances had the Headless Horseman on them. And then there's like really cool gift shops with like kind of like creepy stuff and macabre stuff and Washington Irving stuff, and they have an awesome cemetery. I want to go back.
And they really do have a headless horseman on a horse come out?
They did. So during the 10K, there was a headless horseman riding around. That was awesome.
Wow.
I'd love to hire someone like that to like come ride around my neighborhood.
Yeah. You've also been to New Orleans. New Orleans for Halloween. That looks like it's quite a spectacle there.
So it is early. So I have a local group of friends that we call ourselves the crew of Halloween because we love Halloween all year too. And so it's like a little support group. And we've been to New Orleans twice. One was in January, the other was for Halloween. And we went to the Crew of Boo parade, which was fantastic. So it's a night parade. It's very exciting, and the lights and the throws and getting like Halloween beads and or voodoo potato chips thrown at you. And I don't know if there's anywhere with better food than New Orleans. I know it has nothing to do with Halloween, but I can't not think about the food when we talk about New Orleans. And of course they have like the ghost tours. I think we did like a ghost tour every night that we went, and no, I couldn't talk anyone joining me, but they had a zombie 5K. I'm like, just walk it.
Cool.
And no one else is. So I just did on my own because I was the only one willing to register. So I did a fantastic zombie 5K, and like it's New Orleans. Like the costumes for the zombie 5K were on point. And then of course you get a cool zombie t-shirt and a cool 5K medal, and it was well done. They had like a chase car, like a zombie patrol chase car.
Oh, wow.
It's fantastic. They don't take themselves seriously, and it makes it a lot more fun. And it's a creepy city on a good day. And their cemetery tours are fantastic. So, yeah. I'll go back there too.
But you've also been to Hell, Michigan.
I have. And I've been, every time I go to the Halloween art show in Michigan, I always make a side trip to Hell. So Hell is it's teeny. It is a putt-putt course, and there's a restaurant called the Hell Hole and a gift shop, and it's like so kitschy, but they have this thing where you can pay money and you can be mayor for the day. So of course I had to be mayor for the day.
Wow.
And you go there and you go in the gift shop, and they give you a lanyard that says, and a t-shirt that says mayor, and you just, I don't know, you can kind of like, you just hang out and do what you want. And one of my favorite things to do there is you can, if it's the perfect place to mail your Halloween cards from, because you can get a stamp that says I've been through Hell, Michigan, and they'll singe anything that they mail for you through the gift shop. They'll singe before they send it out. But because I was mayor, they said I could singe my own mail. I'm like, okay, and I made a big mess because I wasn't experienced in singeing mail. So I got a lot of dust and ashes right by the cash register, and I kind of felt bad. And the woman working said, it's okay, you're mayor, you can do what you want. So I can throw ashes around Hell. That was great. But she also showed me the better technique of singeing my mail so it didn't make the ashes. So that's one of my talents. I've been trained in Hell, Michigan, how to singe my own mail and not make a mess. And they have an ice cream shop, and I think because of hygiene, but they used to have the toppings in a coffin. Now the coffin's just there for display, but you used to be able to, and then they had cute names, like the nuts were like, I don't know, like toenail shavings or something like that. But it is so cute and kitschy, and you can buy like a jar of dirt from Hell, and they're getting smart. You can get married in Hell. They're like really marketing all the different tourist things. And until recently, they had a hearse fest there, which I went to hearse fest, and that was pretty cool because it's a bunch of like hearse enthusiasts parking their cars. And I remember it was really weird. I had like my young son with me, and we're in line to go to the bathroom, and this like lady behind us had like, I don't know what, she's like dressed as something like evil monster thing. She had like, even down to like the cosmetic contacts, And it was just like, here we are, just a day in hell, waiting in line next to this monster thing. But they had to move the Hearst Festival because I think it got too big for hell.
Too big for hell. Can you believe that?
Yeah, the Hearst Fest, it could not fit in hell any longer, so they've had to move it to some like fairgrounds close to hell.
It's a hell of a good time.
It is. And you can listen to AC/DC on the way in.
So you can have a highway.
That's the only thing to listen to.
Going to have a highway to hell. I like that. Well, on your bio, you mentioned you're a taphophile. Is that how it's said? Taphophile?
Yeah.
What,
you know what
is that for people who don't know?
Well, I guess everyone can have a little bit definition, but it's someone interested. Well, phile means love, and I guess tapho means death. And I don't think of myself as a death lover, but it usually is someone kind of like obsessed with death or cemeteries. And I love cemeteries. That's one of my other like guilty pleasures I'm into.
Where do you think that comes from?
I have a dark streak, Alex. I don't know. I've always been kind of obsessed. I think death is scary, so I like throw myself at it. But with the cemeteries, it's multi-layered. So cemeteries are art galleries. People might not realize that. They're art galleries, and they are history museums, and they're memento mori. That's what they are. And you might not believe it, but there is this whole taphophile community. And I've had people say, like, well, is that like the Halloween people? I'm like, no. Usually taphophiles are actually more interested in history than like spooky or creepy. It's like two totally different things. But the way I express mine is I am a volunteer tour guide at a local historic cemetery. And it's total historical tour. It's like not creepy. There's no ghosty stuff at all. But I have a passion for looking for really cool monuments. So anywhere I go, even locally, I am always looking for like really cool monuments. And I love to go in cemeteries, walk around, take pictures, and then sometimes I'll come home and I'll like Google the names and look up the history on the different people. So taphophiles are usually more history lovers than creepy people. And there's a whole community on Instagram. And so I have an Instagram account and I share the top 10% of my cemetery pictures, maybe top 20%. I share on an Instagram account.
Do you decorate your yard with a cemetery?
I actually do. Yes. I don't yard haunt as much as maybe you would think I would, because I spend so much time and energy and money on costumes and my art and decorating the inside. My outside doesn't suck, but it's not like TV worthy. But yeah, it's a cemetery, and I don't have it. Okay, I don't have a couple, but most of the tombstones in it are things that artists have created.
Oh, good.
So we had a family friend that she did some woodcuts, and I made some special requests, and she made those. So I have some plywood. They're really heavy to get out. And then I also have, I don't know if it's still around, but there used to be a place online called Tombstone Factory, and they had like different shapes and fonts, and you could tell them what you wanted, and then they would carve the tombstones and mail them to you. So mine are all funny.
Were they out of wood, or is it like a styrofoam? How would they?
It's styrofoam.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, shipping wood or even concrete would be way too much. Well, you say the inside of your house has more stuff, so you do have a dedicated Halloween art room.
You do.
Do you know how many pieces you have?
Oh my gosh, no one's asked me that. Thousands.
Thousands.
A lot of different sizes. It was our bonus room, and until it kind of became the junk room. And I usually keep some Halloween stuff out all year. I have a curio cabinet in the dining room, and usually every year I kind of curate a collection to leave out all year. And if they don't get in the dining room for the year, they go in the Halloween closet. Well, I was just like, decorating takes so much time, and I love this stuff so much. Yeah, I said to my husband, I'm like, the bonus room's kind of become just like, a junky room where it's storage. I'm like, if I clean it out, can I convert it to a Halloween room? So that's what I've been doing.